Put this on documentary.
This should be real.
Is it true you can touch fentanyl and die?
Hell yeah, if you can handle it, that shit could
I'm attacked there by a guy who said things that I can't repeat. Violent, actual, what he was going to do to me.
They're skipping the harm reduction part of it and just kind of just hooking everybody up with goodie bags.
Like the hotels really are the biggest ones, and all the funding that are going towards them when he's doing stuff on taxpayer dime, like taking trips and going to like NFL scouting things.
That lady's pretending to stab someone.
What does this trapper, this sketchy hotel, this mayor, this mom, this addict, and this grandma who has to carry weapons to defend herself all have in common? Well, as you know, we humans are quite interconnected and nothing ever really happens in a vacuum. All of these people hail from Denver and play a role in a city that as of late has been heavily impacted by homelessness, drugs, and controversial political policies.
Denver city officials say the homeless crisis is one of their top priorities, despite criticism from homeless activists.
And here in the Denver metro area are now seeing 100,000 quantity seizures are sadly becoming the norm.
The city of Denver appears ready to admit that its $100 million homeless hotel shelter program is not the best plan.
Tomorrow, the group House Keys Action Network Denver will hold a rally outside the city and county building, calling on Mayor Johnston to keep promises they say he has broken on his homeless policies.
Preliminary numbers for Denver's overdose deaths are in. 522 people died from an overdose last year.
But let's dive a little deeper, because underneath this, there are human traits that we have battled with since the beginning of time. The desire to survive by any means necessary, the battle with greed and power, the struggle of trauma and addiction, the power of doing what's right even when it's difficult or scary, and the hope to make your community a better place. You see, what's happening in Denver is happening all around the country. Portland, Seattle, San Francisco. And so what we learn here can be applied to other cities as well. And some questions we hope to get to the bottom of today are, do those who create the policies that promote widespread homelessness reside in the communities affected by their decisions? Is the Denver mayor and his friends benefiting financially from the homeless crisis? Why is someone getting death threats for speaking out and trying to expose some of this information? And of course, what are the economics of a trap house? Let's get boots on the ground and discover this for ourselves.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you, bro. Active, bro. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Active. What can you tell us about this area?
Shit, you know, regular shit, fentanyl, gangbanging, politics, homeless, shit, you know, all of the above, bro.
Is this your area?
Yeah, it's the hood right here. Literally, the projects is up here, but this is where it gets popping at. So I just wanted to bring you to this little spot, you know what I'm saying?
How much has homelessness increased in the last few years?
Shit, bro, like a motherfucker. It's been going up and up each and every single day, ever since the Venezuelans and shit, the immigrants and shit pulled up, you know what I'm saying? They just been taking over this shit.
We keep this shit 1,000 over here, okay? And that's all it's ever been. That's what
we're gonna put it on a documentary. We just gonna put this on documentary. You know?
This should be real, nigga. As long as you hold it down and you keep it 1,000.
Bracket. You don't know you, nigga. It's Bracken. You talking about? You talking about you some junk.
Have you noticed a lot of migrants coming in the area?
Every motherfucking day. They deep. They come in.
And that contributes to a lot of the homeless numbers?
Yeah, they come in packs. Yeah, they come in tags.
We met with a collection of whistleblowers who wanted to speak on what was happening in Denver and to protect their identity and themselves from retribution. Many of them spoke anonymously.
They're allowed to drive without driver's licenses. They're driving around without insurance.
Are you allowed to do that as a Denver resident?
I'm not at all, no. With some of the migrants and homeless stuff, I don't know the money that's coming in because I'm a taxpayer and I do the right thing. I have to work hard every day. So I work almost 80 to 100 hours a week. So a lot of the times these homeless or migrants that are coming to Denver are actually getting money, federal assistance or state assistance from the government. So you could be a migrant and I could be the state or the city of Denver. You come and I said, well, here's $5,000. Thank you for coming here. The hospital's over here. Your hotel is over here. Here's some cash.
¿Te gusta el gobierno de Denver? Like, piensas que ellos son ayuda mucho?
Sí, ayuda.
¿Qué cosas reciben del gobierno de Denver?
No, nosotros no, pero sí conocemos personas
que sí han recibido
celular. Sí.
Muchos paisanos de nosotros han recibido ayuda buena, como un techo, refugio, alimentación del gobierno de aquí.
¿El gobierno pega para tu casa?
No.
¿Para comida?
No, ahorita no tenemos mucho tiempo aquí.
¿Te gusta Estados Unidos?
Sí.
Now that you got a taste of what certain parts of Denver can feel like, homeless guys with guns, migrants, let's head to the Baker neighborhood, another area impacted, and talk to moms, business owners, and an old lady who was attacked twice in April alone.
I call this Jack because if you mess with me, I'm going to jack you up. This is a combination of flashlight and stun gun.
Have you ever had to use it?
No, but I wish I had.
Yeah? Why is that?
I was attacked twice in April. I was sitting at a bus bench on Broadway. A man, 40, black, nicely dressed, zipped up on a scooter, laid it down, locked eyes with me, did not look away. He jumped up and sat against me. And then he put his arm around me and pulled me into him side to side and nuzzled in my neck, holding my arms so I couldn't use Jack. Thankfully, the Lord provided a bus right away, and I didn't care if it was going to Kansas. I got on the bus and I got away.
A question this channel has pondered often is how do you handle the homeless crisis? One method, the one Denver is employing, is to flush the homeless community with resources like tents, clean needles, and free showers. And while that can certainly be looked at as a humanitarian act by supplying people with the basics to survive, for others it creates a neighborhood that is unsafe, dirty, and rife with the mentally ill. Furthermore, it creates a situation where the people that make good choices, the taxpayers, the families, the contributors, they end up footing the bill for a drug addict to smoke fentanyl on their dime. But what are the alternatives? Can you mandate the unhoused to stay in shelters and in essence create some sort of homeless prison? Should you make it illegal for someone to be homeless? Or should you sequester them to more remote areas away from city foot traffic? Is doing any of those things even ethical? And when you see people conversing with the sky or wanking themselves in a public library while shouting obscenities at somebody, it makes you consider if insane asylums are a good idea to bring back. Now there are a lot of rabbit holes we can go down, but the summary of all this is, when dealing with a vulnerable population like the homeless, it's not an easy call to decide what to do about it. A lot of the times it's damned if you do, damned if you don't.
So how many weapons are you carrying on you right now?
I'm carrying 4. Well, this is Jack. I also have Dr. Pepper.
You don't got a Glock on you, do you?
No,
Okay.
I wish. And this is Mr. Tacky. If you attack me, I will cause perhaps tachycardia, breaks windows on cars, and anything else. And I have a small pair of scissors as well.
Describe the policies of the mayor and the city on homelessness and how it's impacting your life.
I'm not sure I can answer as far as policies and impacts. I know my neighborhood, and it's been impacted in ways that are inhumane for the unhoused and dangerous and inhumane for people in the neighborhood.
The mayor is enabling this to go on. He's living with his head in the sand. We have fentanyl here. We have a supply of drugs coming up from the border. We're getting free health care. Don't worry about if you overdose. The resources are here for the drugs and for the overdoses for the people that really don't want help, which is a staggering amount. We see him having fun and going and eating these luxury meals, and we all know that his salary is about $400,000 a year, and most of us aren't even clearing $35,000 a year.
It's just a money pit for them. Like the hotels really are the biggest ones, and all the funding that are going towards them. I want to say a lot of people that run these organizations that the mayor is funding are friends of his, stuff like that. I know he's doing stuff on taxpayer dime.
What would you have them do differently about the unhoused?
This place is enabling, and things need to be done differently, obviously.
Every morning when I drive in from work, I see a minimum of 3 drug users in the alleyway, either shooting up or smoking meth or actively doing a drug. You can always tell when the new drug hits the street because depending on what the drug is, they act differently. Like there was one month where they were really lovey and sweet, and then there was the next month they're all bent over like this.
Trank.
And then you know, there was another one where they were just super aggressive, like super angry. I mean, we've had poop put on our building, we've had feces. People in America have just become too complacent. And I think we all need to stand up for what's right, and we need to start supporting people who actually produce and create America and make America what it is, which is people working and living and being participants in society. When we start giving more of our resources to people who are not participating in our society, that's really how societies fall.
What do you think about an institution like
I absolutely think we need mental health institutions reopened. I mean,
we used to have them all over America.
And bad people got involved, and then people were abusing people, and I mean, I know why it got shut down, but it is time to reopen.
I heard the funding for public safety, 911, firemen, police, that got diverted towards homelessness. Is that the case around here?
Well, we ended up with about 40,000 Venezuelans. I understand that a lot of that money did get diverted to house the Venezuelans that have come here.
The city of Denver spent over $70 million on migrants over the last several years. The budget for this largely comes to cuts to the city payroll, with over 160 positions remaining unfilled after they were cut. Moreover, the city's public safety funds have been slashed by nearly 10%. People argue that these cuts take away from the long-term residents while prioritizing newcomers, and this is one example why people are frustrated with the policies that Denver has enacted. Next, we meet Elijah. He overcame drug addiction and is going to share his story with us. Here's what we learned.
You know, I was addicted to drugs for a very long time.
What was your drug of choice?
Well, it started out with Oxycontin, and then it moved up to heroin, and then eventually fentanyl. I am 32 now, so it started when I was 16, 17. Yeah, and it pretty much the whole time there was consistent. You know, I would have spurts of getting clean, but this is now the longest I've been clean and stayed clean.
Were you ever homeless?
Yes.
How long?
For a couple years.
How do you feel like the homelessness is being handled, the drug addiction is being handled in the city?
Okay, well, I think, you know, the whole, you know, they wanted to house 1,000, which is a good starting point. But, you know, I've been in some of those hotels and those houses, and they just pretty much treat it like they were out in the street, you know, trash, drug use, you know,
a
diseases. Yeah, exactly. And they don't really know how good they have it. I really just think someone needs to show them. I don't know how though, but like the good parts of being sober, which is really hard. It's not going to be like, you're sober, hey, you're going to do good, your mental health's going to be good, everything's going to be fine. It is hard. They sell drugs in the alley. This was a place for them to hang out, and I think it was something because it was known as like a safe use site, which I don't know if it's entirely true, but they would congregate here, you know, get high on the side here when, you know, during business hours, but mostly after business hours.
Is there anything you think the city should be doing differently?
Something mental health treatment, you know, that's, I think, the big thing in all of this.
What did it take for you to get sober?
Getting clean was, I had to support my girlfriend. She was the first person I could talk to about it and didn't leave me about it, you know, and so support was a big thing. It's a hard thing, and you know, it's like these people, they don't have anywhere to go. You know, it's like the people want to kick them out, but it's like, where are they going to go? You're just moving them to the next city.
Yeah.
You know.
So how long have you been on the street?
Probably like a year.
Okay. And tell me about what you were paying in rent before this all went down.
Like $17.50 or something like that, probably.
That's a lot of
rent. For a
rent.
little one-bedroom apartment we split. Yeah.
That's
up in Loveland too.
Okay. What happened that you couldn't pay your rent anymore?
It got too expensive, you know what I'm saying? Got old paying that much money, you know what I'm saying? So.
Tell me about how fentanyl has hit the city of Denver.
Oh, like a big way. You know, you don't do that drug. That drug does you for sure.
Tell me about the homeless hotels. One, I guess, have you checked that out? Have you considered going?
I don't want to go to that kind of stuff. There's a lot to do with like people saying like concentration camps and stuff is like conspiracy theory thing. Mm-hmm. But a lot of it is like they do these tiny home communities where like they shoo people away into corners and you're required to have an ID to get into them. Like they can't have any guests. And a lot of these people will seclude themselves away and like not have any friends, not have any guests over, and just kind of follow the rules just because it's hard out here on the streets and they don't want to be homeless anymore, you know what I'm saying?
Some people say that the nonprofits and the mayor, that there's people in power kind of getting rich off the homeless situation.
Yes, there definitely are. I guarantee
so?
there are. Yes, look at all the different resources you have with like the NCAP and like the harm reduction businesses you see shooting up everywhere.
Should the city be giving out needles, pipes, tinfoil?
They're skipping the harm reduction part of it and just kind of just hooking everybody up with goodie bags, you know what I'm saying?
Dawn is a Baker resident that's passionate about making her city a better place. She met up with us to discuss the difficulties of raising a kid in an area that's plagued by fentanyl and homelessness.
In 2018, there was a 25-year-old person walking home from the bar at 9 o'clock at night who was shot in front of my carriage house. That was the first initial call to action from the community, where myself and my block members, got neighborhood watch going. My kids, they go to the Denver Center for International Studies 2 blocks into the community here. One of my daughter's 5th grade friends died of an overdose.
5th grade?
Well, he was actually 13. It was her brother, her friend's brother.
Okay.
But I knew him. He was a child I knew. I'm known as a disadvantaged youth advocate. I was on the board of the Denver Children's Home for several years, and I've lived in Denver in this community, in the Baker community, for 23 years. By the city densely populating all of these social services and the transitional housing and the low barrier housing and everything in our community, it is severely impacting public health and safety. We've been trying to get our voices heard, and no one's listening. The media's blocked us, pretty much all of the media, with the exception of Fox News, which nobody listens to Fox News in a Democratic state. The public sentiment's shifting nationally right now. We can see that happening, and it's specifically related to what they're doing to communities like mine. I stopped bringing my own son here. My son's 11, my daughter's 14 now. Years ago. I didn't feel it was a safe environment. It was pretty dirty. And now it's just gotten much worse. And I personally have taken on the Denver Public Library Commission. I've been coming to the Denver Public Library to present to them. We have had 5 open distribution of illicit drugs arrests just here since February 2nd. The vast majority of crime is happening within 1,000 feet of this public library between the hours of 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. And you'll see the kids 5 blocks this way is a middle high school. They walk home past this environment every day. I have video of children walking past people injecting fentanyl. And it's just all day, all night, people using drugs, people hanging out here. The library refuses to shut off 24/7 Wi-Fi. The business owners and the residents.
That lady's pretending to stab someone.
The Denver Housing Initiative, also known as All In Mile High, has allowed the homeless to set up camps in places like the Baker neighborhood. A key question is whether these decision makers live in the areas impacted by homelessness. City insiders revealed that supposedly only one decision maker, Councilwoman Diana Romero Campbell, resides in an affected neighborhood. So honestly, kudos to her for staying on business. However, it's been alleged that many of the other senior leaders live miles away from the homeless hotspots, and some of them even live in the suburbs up to 45 minutes outside of Denver. It's frustrating when the people making the rules don't face their consequences. And while I'm actually sure that All in Mile High probably has good intentions, ideological capture causes concern when upstanding citizens are the ones afraid to speak out. Many Denver residents, including social workers, police, and firemen, feared retribution for speaking to me, often only agreeing to do anonymous interviews or canceling the interview altogether. And let's be real, folks, if you're with your child in your own neighborhood where you pay taxes and your child has to encounter a disturbing situation where, I don't know, a naked homeless guy is groping himself and smoking fentanyl, isn't it crazy that speaking out about that might lead to an online mob assembling to dox you, get you fired, and even send you death threats? These are real things that Denver citizens have to contend with. Right now, we're on the phone with Do Better Denver. She runs an Instagram page in Denver where her audience sends her clips of crazy things that are happening in the city. She posts them, and just for doing that, she has received death threats, threatened to be doxxed, and she is afraid for her safety, which is why we have to alter her voice. She believes she has inside information that would lead people to believe that there is some sort of financial conflict of interest going on with this hotel, the mayor, his friends, and nonprofits in the area. Whether that is true remains to be seen.
We have to disguise your voice. Tell the people why you want your voice disguised and what you've encountered in running your page.
I'm just trying to showcase the condition that our city's been left in by these policies, and to receive threats from people for exposing these policies is just like insane to me.
What kind of threats have people made towards you?
A lot of violent threats, right? If I see you filming, you'll catch hands, or you'll get tapped, or a lot of threats like that. Well, I mean, that's also scary too, because there's a lot of people in Denver right now that are also filming. So, I mean, what does that mean for the average citizen?
Do Better Denver sent us some documents, and here are the takeaways she wanted us to look at. First, Mayor Mike Johnson previously worked at a place called Gary Community Ventures, GVC, and this place combines policy, business, and philanthropy to impact the Denver community. From GVC, millions of dollars have flowed into Denver elections. In 2021, Johnson was president and CEO at GVC, and on the books, he earned nearly $240,000, and he worked 20 hours a week. During his tenure, GVC GBC was the largest financial backer against a movement to ban group living. They won that fight, and one of the results is the law continues to allow the homeless to live together in hotels. Johnson then resigned GBC when he made his run for mayor. Folks, here's where it gets interesting. Now, the paper trail is murky, but a group called ULC is involved in the purchase of a couple hotels in the city. Possibly more, but it's a mountain of paperwork hidden behind LLC, so it's hard to say. But the two we do know about, the DoubleTree and Embassy Suites, are being used to house the homeless on taxpayer dime, something enabled by the group living amendment Mike and GCV fought very hard to keep. Now here's the kicker. According to Do Better Denver, Gary Community Ventures has financial ties with ULC, meaning that one could argue that the mayor, GCV, and ULC could have some potentially questionable motives. We're just outside of 4040 in Quebec, or we're at that hotel that you sent all the articles about. So we're trying to figure out what our approach should be when we speak about this hotel. You sent me a few articles. What is worth investigating further?
Well, definitely the security piece of it, right? I mean, I guess you could see if you could get in there. Like, they have a bunch of side doors for that hotel that, like, the security company, I guess, just pops open and people just can go inside. I mean, it's probably pretty dangerous in there. Like, I would be careful.
Yeah, I'm imagining a lot of angry homeless guys with makeshift... Yeah.
Well, and, like, guns. So... Homeless guys with guns? Well, I mean, yeah. So there was the double homicide in there, and there was a shooting inside that hotel 2 weeks after that.
People also say that he's connected to the real estate deals that involve the homeless hotels. That the hotels have been sold for way over asking price, and that he was a partner of some sort that may have benefited from that. Is that something that you've heard anything of?
So what I've heard is from...
This is all allegedly, by the way.
Allegedly, I heard from the owners of the Best Western and Comfort Inn that the Comfort Inn is actually owned, so is the Best Western, and we're actually renting out. They're renting it out to the city, opposed to the mayor's office.
Can you tell me about the connection between the mayor of Denver and this hotel?
This one's a little tricky. So the DoubleTree Hotel, which we call the TroubleTree, is owned by an entity called 4040 Quebec LLC. ULC, Urban Land Conservancy, which is funded by Gary Community Investments. I think ULC loaned money to fund the purchase of the DoubleTree hotel, which would sounds to me like a conflict of interest, right?
If you could say a message directly to Mayor Johnston, what would you say?
I would say that perhaps he needs to start listening to the people of Denver, and maybe he should listen to my account and not dismiss it because he considers me anonymous.
Let's say other Denver residents are listening to this and they are fired up too. What can they do to join the fight?
I mean, I think they just need to continue to write their city council members, write emails to the mayor. I do calls to action. We just need to continue telling our city officials that this is not something that we're going to tolerate.
Well, we'll be in touch, and I hope you have a great day, okay?
Perfect, thank you, you too.
Yeah, bye-bye. And saying that someone has to be in fear of their life or getting doxxed to be like, yeah, guy's doing fentanyl in front of children at school is a problem to me. Of course, if you want to understand how drugs are hitting the street, you gotta talk to people at a trap house. Here's what these fellas had to say about the business.
So folks, we're with two businessmen that run a trap house. First question is, how has Fetty changed the game?
Shit, that shit changed that shit crazy like a motherfucker. Right when that shit hit the stage for me like years ago, like 5 years ago and shit, you feel me?
From what I can understand, like before it was like crack, meth, and heroin were some of the top things to sell.
It feels like fentanyl's replaced that. I mean, a lot of people
talk to. Have you guys seen that too?
Yeah, that's the main thing. That's the main thing for me, for sure.
What's the difference between the pills and the powder?
Shit, the pill don't fucking kill you in like half a second. Shit, the powder, you have money. You can do a powder for 20 years, you get what I'm saying? And come back. A nigga do fentanyl for a week and be done.
Is it true you can touch fentanyl and die?
Yeah, hell yeah. If you get this shit in your pores, if you can inhale it, feel me? Like if you open the bag and the dust like get in your face and shit, that shit could make you have a little OD and shit.
How do you make sure you're safe with it?
Shit, gloves, you get what I'm saying? We need to put one little mask if it's like that powder, you know what I'm saying?
Tell me about the money behind it. What can you buy it for and what can you sell it for?
It used to go 30 for 30. You know what I'm talking about, 30s? Like fentanyl 30? Back in the day, it used to go $30 for a pill, you know what I'm saying? And then that shit started going cheaper and cheaper, it started coming in faster. Those go $5, $2.50 to 50 cents, you know what I'm saying?
50 cents a pill. Is a pill like...
It's going like up now though, but that should be, it's like, to me, it's like the stock market should go up and down.
So you'd rather wholesale it to smaller dealers than be the guy that's going down the street?
Shit, type shit, yeah.
When I was a kid, my brother sold weed, it would make me nervous driving around. Like my stomach would hurt. I was always like, oh, I'm looking out for cops. Do you ever get nervous doing this job?
It's just a risk, bro. Real shit, money. Shit, everyone does that shit, bro. But it's always a risk, money. If you want to risk, go to jail. Then shit, risk going to jail. Play your card, money.
If you're actually going at it for a whole day, like what's a realistic amount of money to make?
Shit, up to a couple dirhams a day.
Do you guys have to interact with people from the cartel to do this shit?
No, hell no.
I see, so if you look at the drug overdoses, fentanyl is by far number one.
It's not even
close. How do you feel about that?
Shit, I don't even know, that shit crazy. I'm just dying off that shit, little crime could kill you.
I've heard that the Denver PD is really underfunded and understaffed right now. Do you feel like that makes it easier to do business?
I mean, I feel like that just happened because I just heard that they really recently just, they pull you over for broken taillights and expired tags and little lot shit no more.
That actually helps you because it improves your chances of getting
caught with little shit, shit. But we always make sure we ride it smoothly, we ain't no dumb niggas.
Oh yeah, so like how long do you guys see yourself being in the game for?
Shit, not that long. I'm trying to get out the shit and use this shit to build something better.
How do you guys feel about like your impact on the world? Would you look at yourselves as the good end, evil end, or somewhere in between?
Shit, we ain't no ass people, you know what I'm saying? We have respect and shit, we don't just be doing out of, for me, like some weird ass shit. Like we have morals and shit too, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I'll leave that up to God whenever I see that nigga, so.
Does your mom know what you do?
Shit, my mom be on that shit. Yeah, so. I've been doing that since I was 12 years old, you know what I'm saying? So shit, nothing new to me.
What did you guys grow up like? What did your childhood look like?
Shit, I had a good little family till I was like 5 with my parents in the crib, big house, you know what I'm saying? Boom, they broke up due to their problems, whatever. So I got dropped off in the projects with my granny. I was like 6, 7, you know what I'm saying? And that's when everything started from there.
Is it hard to get a girlfriend with this job?
Shit, some love it. Some like this shit. Some be like, nah, nigga, stay away. But some be like, nah,
I appreciate you inviting us.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Any final thoughts you have for the people?
Shit, nah, just keep doing what you gotta do. Stay out the way. Stay away from niggas, you know what I'm saying? Watch your back. And free the game.
Folks, we end the episode on a good note. We go back to visit our friend Dawn, who we spoke to earlier. And she's not just someone who talks. She does good through her actions. Here are a few people she's helped get back on their feet and win the fight against homelessness.
Tommy, I'm here with?
I'm Richard Garcia.
Hello, Richard Garcia. Tell me about yourself.
Humble, Christian, love people, help people. And it's like I've been out here for a long time.
How long you think?
I want to say 15 years.
What led to that?
A fire. I call it the fire. So for me, that's what it was. Other than that, here I am, striving and moving on.
Is that what you're waiting for next, is a voucher from the city?
Oh, no, I'm already in. So
how is it being in your new pad?
It's surreal, because now it's like I could say I'm going home. And actually mean I'm going home.
Don, can you come here for a second? What was the process of helping Richard with housing? How did you manage to pull this off?
Well, it was Rico first. He's good friends with Rico, who I've known for 23 years. Saw Rico sleeping on the ground, really bad back, just like Richard. They're both, retired. I just didn't want him to be sleeping in our community park, and I said, how can I help you? So I went to the city and hooked him up with some housing folks from the city because I'm on a safety committee, and we knew how to get them connected with resources. We asked the resources to come to the park and meet with them.
I feel like if I needed to part the Red Sea, you'd probably be one of the first guys on the list I'd look towards for help.
I'd appreciate that. Thank you, my brother.
Have a good day, man.
You too.
I do want to, yes, get a hug.
And this is Susie.
Hi.
You've been facing some trials and tribulations
Yes,
lately.
I have.
Can you tell the people about that?
On July 4th, 2020, I was standing over by the bus stop, and it was July 4th, and there were firecrackers going off, and a dog ran out into the middle of the street. So I put my hands out and herded the dog back to the owner. She got the dog safely, and with that, a woman was sitting here, and I was on my way up to the building, and she ran at me and caught me at the security camera and tried to strangle me.
Some sort of drug-induced?
She was definitely under the influence.
So you were attacked from your own home?
Yes. The result of all this is PTSD. So now I'm a nervous wreck. That's just a snapshot of what goes on in this building. My escape is that park. That's where I make friends. That's where I get a sense of belonging and community.
Is it possible for you to move?
It's difficult, that I can afford.
So her community is here. We're all here helping her, when she's not feeling well, we come together and try to help her walk her dog or whatever. She needs her friends.
And they've done that. They've brought me food. They've walked my dog Luna. Dawn walked my dog Luna several times when I can't. That's my community.
All right, folks, this was an inside look at the business of a trap house, impact of homelessness and fentanyl on a city. This was a close look at our public servants to make sure that they're doing the right thing. You guys let me know in the comments if you think this mayor is a good guy or if there's something fishy going on. Thank you guys for joining us on this episode. We'll see you next week. Peace. Folks, hope you enjoyed this episode. You want to watch another? Here. You want to subscribe? Over here. See you next week.